Approximately a year ago, Liberty Entertainment Distribution contacted numerous independent comic creators with a contract to put their books in Spencer's gifts. Spencer's currently has 600 shops and malls across the United States and Canada. 7 creators with a total of 9 books took Liberty up on the offer. 27,000 books were printed at the creators' expense. 2,000 were to be sent to Spencer's and 1,000 were intended for Liberty Distribution to distribute to comic shops and sell at conventions. This was to be a 6-issue monthly contract. According to Anthony Figaro, one of the creators involved, all of the creators signed contracts and NDAs with Liberty, but now that the deal has fallen apart, people involved in and with knowledge of this deal have started to speak about it.
What happened was, first of all, I started Liberty, the company, in 2015.
Right.
Through it, when someone would order stuff from my comic publishing company, when I sent it with Liberty package. Just kind of giving myself this experience.
So what is Liberty? Is Liberty a comic book publishing company? Is Liberty a shipping and fulfillment company? What is this Liberty brand?
Distribution. For independent comics.
All right.
Liberty is owned by Varian Grant, and despite being established in 2015 and Grant sending out his own books under the Liberty banner, the official launch was announced in August of 2020. Varian and his wife Krista also run IndieVolt, which bills itself as a media company whose stated purpose is to support independent artists. The first time I saw them in Comicsgate was a live stream in early May 2021. Krista, who goes by the handle Lola the Indie Princess, was launching a crowdfund for a book entitled Lure, a self-insert psychological thriller set against a background of polyamory, which included an ashcan of a listing of A to Z fetishes, as well as a 28-page book of prints of unsolicited dick pictures she had received. Krista raised $2,360 on Indiegogo. Since then, IndieVolt announced a partnership with Indiecron, a fixture in Comicsgate since 2019 that collates CG crowdfunds. One of the creators contracted for the Spencer's deal, J.D. Calderon, acted as a print broker and found a printer for the books. The first issue of the books were shipped from the printer to Varian in Michigan in July of 2021. On August 4th, Liberty Distribution's Twitter announced that the books had been sent to Spencer's Distribution Center in New Jersey. This started the 45-day clock for the creators to receive payment. And sometime in mid to early August, Varian told the group that Spencer's wanted to expand the contract, and they made plans to travel to New Jersey for the grand opening of their books being placed in Spencer's, attend a pop-up book signing, and for Varian to sign the new contract. This contract was for 17,500 copies of each issue instead of the initial 2,000, bringing the total number of contracted books to 158,500 monthly. The opening at Spencer's had been canceled, but the group still traveled to New Jersey for the contract signing, where they were told by Varian that the representative they were to meet with at Spencer's was ill and would not be meeting with them that day. Over the course of the weekend, which included a pop-up shop book signing, Varian claimed to have received an email with the contract and he signed it. This expansion of the contract is happening at the same time Varian says Spencer's was seemingly cooling to the deal because the first shipment of books was a few days late. By mid-September, the 45 days for the receipt of payment was up. Varian told the creators that the payment was held up because the UPC codes were incorrect and it would be another 120 days before payment would be received.
So I was told that originally you sent the stuff, you were supposed to get payment within 45 days.
Yes.
And then you were told the UPC codes were entered wrong,
Yes.
and that it was going to be another 120 days before you got payment.
Due to the paper shortage, Calderon was unable to find a printer and the additional 138,500 books were never printed.
I thought, oh, okay, well, this can work and this is going to work. And then the rug got snatched out from us when I got home, because that's when we get told there's no way to meet that deal because there's no paper.
And how many printers did you contact?
Well, JD was the point guy on the printers.
And
So
how
I'm not
many
sure
how many different printers did JD reach out to?
I am not sure.
After some time, Varian told the group that Spencer's wanted to return to the original contract of 2,000 copies per issue because they were unable to procure the additional books. On Black Rose Comics livestream on February 13, 2022, Varian claimed to have used a business-to-business broker called Books to Bucks to find this deal with Spencer's, a claim reiterated by Varian on his own February 17th live stream.
One of those companies was referral only, and they reached out to me, and they said, "Hey, we specialize in books," and they were called B2B Squared, and they said it was business to business, books to bucks, and they told me they would, be able to help me get these comics everywhere.
None of the creators had been informed that there was a third party acting as a middleman for this contract. They were under the impression that Varian was in direct contact with Spencer's. On a February 16th Black Rose Comics livestream, Eric Hodson, a longtime friend of Varian's and fellow comic creator, showed a partial page of a purported NDA with a company called B2B Squared. Varian also claims to have received payment for the artwork done by Eric Hodson for the store displays and a single letter in December from both Spencer's and B2B Squared that canceled the contract with penalties due to breach of contract. He said that he forwarded the letter to his lawyer and that after payment of a $3,744 fine, which was a charge for storage and return shipping to Michigan, Spencer's agreed to send the books back to Varian. Very little of what I just described actually happened the way Varian claimed. Contracts with Liberty Entertainment Distribution were signed by the creators, books were printed, Hodson did the display art, and they did travel to New Jersey. There never was a contract with Spencer's Gifts. Nearly everything Varian told these 7 creators was a lie. Something to keep in mind here is that Varian, while claiming that he had an attorney, never stated that he showed the initial contract to that attorney, and he most definitely didn't have him look over the addendum to the contract he claims to have signed while in New Jersey, a change in the contract that would have made it worth $6 million.
And in that conversation, you said that you had mailed the night before correspondence with things redacted and watermarked with my name on it. So when I showed it, because I had your back. I was defending you. Of course I'm going to show, look, I've got receipts. He's not lying. Of course I was going to show that. But it's been 3 weeks and I haven't got that.
Really?
So, yeah, so at this point, when that never showed up, man, I didn't have any choice but just to step away and say, okay, I've got to get these books because I'm massively in debt from this deal. And I got to make something happen.
No one involved in this has seen any paperwork regarding this deal with Spencer's. The contract from Spencer's was withheld because of an NDA. The NDA was never shown. Not a single invoice was shown. Not one bill of lading for the shipping. Nothing, despite numerous instances of Varian promising to share the information with the group. Varian has claimed multiple times that the company he signed an NDA with is called B2B Squared Books to Bucks. There is a problem with the NDA he claims to have signed. Books to Bucks doesn't exist. The company name on the NDA, the first page of which was given to Eric, is B2B Squared. B2B Squared is located in Wisconsin, and from their website, they deal with e-commerce, not brick and mortar. This is their logo. The logo on the top of the NDA does not belong to B2B Squared and can be found on this website, where graphic designers post samples of their work looking to be hired.
General counsel is Spencer's legal department, and I talked to Kevin W. Mahoney, Esquire. He's the senior vice president and general counsel at Spencer's Gifts. I explained the due diligence I was performing. He asked me to send him in writing, and he would ascertain for me if the deal ever existed and whether or not Jill Watts, Jill Morris, or Carl Eubanks worked for Spencer's. I spoke to Mr. Mahoney on Friday afternoon, and he confirmed that Spencer's does not do any business with B2B Squared nor Liberty Entertainment Distribution. He also confirmed that no one by the names of Jill Watts, Jill Morris, nor Carl Eubanks does now or has ever worked for Spencer's.
The person who the group was supposed to meet in August and sign the amended contract has never worked at Spencer's. None of the claimed contacts Varian had at Spencer's do or have worked there. And according to Phoenix Animation, he contacted Spencer's after being bounced from department to department, was finally put in contact with the woman in charge of their business-to-business, and she said the Spencer's had never carried comics and has never had plans to do so.
I believe Varian was the victim of an elaborate scam and is not savvy enough to ask the right questions, insist on documentations, and then be truthful with his business partners regarding the nature of the relationship involving B2B Squared.
Dojo Kun Comics, who is a certified fraud investigator, has spoken with Varian, his wife, Spencer's legal counsel, and a few of the creators. He looked at some documents that Varian shared with him and has come to the conclusion that Varian, while guilty of negligent business practices, was scammed by B2B Squared, that the scam was to get the $3,744 from Varian for the storage and shipping that was demanded in December for the return of the books. I disagree. I don't believe that Varian had a contract with anyone. Dojo-kun's theory rests on the idea that the books were picked up by the scammer company and moved to another facility. But this never happened. I have been in contact with Randy Zimmerman, one of the creators offered this deal by Varian. He helped pack the books for what he believed to be their pickup to New Jersey, and according to him, the books haven't moved an inch and are in the exact same spot in the storage space Varian rented. Photographs of the pallets taken on the day they were supposedly picked up and after they were reportedly returned confirm this. Eric Hodson has since changed the locks on the unit and will be sending the books back to the individual creators. So what was the hustle? I believe the purpose here was twofold. First, having these creators under the Liberty banner made the company look bigger than it was and raised its profile among creators and possible distribution outlets. And second, Varian was given possession of 27,000 books. Per the contract, 1,000 copies of each issue were not included in the professed Spencer's deal, but were intended for Liberty to decimate to other vendors and for Varian and his wife to sell at conventions. He would receive 50% of these sales. By September, after the New Jersey trip, they were at conventions selling these comics. The remaining 18,000 books, in my opinion, were intended for liquidation by Varian. The expanded deal was always going to fall through before the books were actually printed. According to Zimmerman, Varian was already setting up Calderon as the fall guy. The paper shortage gave him the perfect excuse for this ostensible deal to collapse. Now, the Seven have control over their books. They are running a crowdfund on Indiegogo in an attempt to recoup some of their losses. Sign-ups have started, and there is a link in the description.